So this is the sheet, just so you know, that I was given for setting up the environment. All right. So we did install Notepad++. We installed Git. We installed Tortoise Git. We tried to do the configuration. Some of it worked. We installed Visual Studio. We installed Visual Studio code extensions, which brings us up to here. Okay. This one we don't have to do. This is whoops. This thing right here, this install IO gear, that's specific because of the way that the classrooms are configured in St. Louis, so we don't have to do that. All right. But what I'm concerned with is the stuff that's right here. First thing I would like to show you real quick, this was from Chapter 1. We went over Chapter 1 yesterday. And on page 20, they've got a thing called text editors for HTML and CSS. And on page 21, they have several of them in there. If you decide, as we're working on this, you don't like Visual Studio Code, it's hard to work with, you can't get it to work, whatever, these are some other ones. And you'll notice, yeah, I was going to say, you'll notice one is Mac only. They do say Notepad++ is Windows only. I wasn't aware of that. And there's also brackets and Atom and Visual Studio Code, which are from multiple different platforms that it runs on. All right. Now, in the book, too, you don't have to bring up anything, but I just wanted to show you this. And hopefully what I'm about to tell you and show you makes sense to you. In Chapter 2, which we're actually going to at least probably get into today, look on the screen if you would. We'll talk about HTML syntax. We'll talk about CSS syntax. I am not going to show you how to use an editor that we're not using, so I'm going to skip that part. But if you decide that you want to use brackets, you can go back and take a look at that. All right? And we will talk about testing and debugging, etc. What I'd like to have you two do, if you would, is go, if you haven't done this already, do a file, new file. All right, so create a new file. Just click File on your menu, and then New File, and it should look like this, correct? It doesn't matter. You don't have to put a thing in there, but I'd like you to do a file and go down to your Save As. My machine's really acting flaky today, but that's fine. So do a file, Save As. You can see what I mean. All right. I would just for now recommend saving it to your desktop, and just call it. Now, please look on the screen here. Don't type with me. I want you to see this because this happens to a lot of people. All right, we're going to save this as just demo.html. Now, sometimes when you type that in and you save it like that, what the system does instead, see it says plain text. See that? It'll save it as demo.html.text. That's not what you want. You want it just as demo.html. So there's a couple things that you can do. All right. First is we can click down here where it says save as type, and we can look in there and find HTML. That'll work. Okay. But it's about halfway down. You can see it right here. See that? But let's say you're like, that seems like too much work. Well, then I want to show you something that's not shown in most books. If I save it as demo HTML, but I enclose the whole thing inside of double quotes, so I put a double quote at the beginning and a double quote at the end, it'll always save it as just that name, regardless.
Really?
Yes. So, I mean, it's something you may want to take advantage of. All right, so I'm going to do that, and I'm going to click Save. Now, I have nothing in mine. You have nothing in yours, correct? Now, I'm going to show you. We're going to see whether or not you have. There's supposed to be a shortcut in here that's already loaded on your machine. You didn't have to. It comes with Visual Studio Code. It used to be an extension, but I believe now it's there, period. I want you to put in an exclamation point. Don't worry if you get this stuff here. you have to save it as like I said, well, I'm just calling mine demo.html. You can call it basically anything. All right. And after you put in that single quote, I'm sorry, the exclamation point, after you put that in, hit your tab key. And tell me if you get what I've got on the screen. If you get nothing, it's okay. Did you get this too? Pardon? You did not get it. Okay. Then, now that means it seems like it's installed on yours, and now we're going to put it on yours right now. Okay. What this does is it's a thing called Emmet that creates a lot of templates and stuff for you. All right. So if you don't have it, go down here, click on your gear, go down to or up to whatever extensions, and type in here E-M-M-E-T, Emmet. All right. Now there should be a bunch of different ones in here. I've already got it on here. Do you have one that just says Emmet that doesn't say all this other stuff? All right. Then I will have to check, because I don't want you to download any of these or install any of these, because it may not be the right one. All right. But we will check. I'll give some time at the end of class today that we can look for that. Okay? All right. And believe it or not, although it may not exactly seem like it, we're making progress. I'm on page 7 of the 9 pages that they gave me. You got it now? Okay. All right. So again, pardon me? Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. All right. What we will do tomorrow is we're going to go over every line that you see in here. You don't have to memorize them, but there'll be things. The nice thing is you never have to type it now, and you know that. What I was going to have you do was just type it in manually and then go, and I'll remove it, then put in an exclamation, and then, but I've done that before, and people are like, well, why'd you have us type it then? All right. Okay. So I want to check one thing here under the extensions window, click the more actions. Okay. If you would please, if this is not showing on your screen right now, click this gear down here like we did before and choose extensions. Well, like I said, my machine's just going nuts here. So just choose extensions, and that should bring it up. Correct? You got that? Click over here where you see the 3 dots, also known as an ellipsis. So click on the ellipsis. Then mine's at the top, and I believe yours will be too. Click where it says Show Installed Extensions. See this? That shows what we have installed or what was automatically installed for you. All right? So this is the stuff that we put in, the live server, all the other stuff. And again, If you decide you don't want something that's on here, you should be able to click it, and there's none installed. Okay? So that's really all that you have to do. All right. Okay. Now, there are certain things that we can do if we want to. There are certain other settings that we can do. Let's work with what we've got for now. All right? And if we have any trouble, we'll fix it. All right? Okay. We can now close this. Okay? And I'm going to close this too. In fact, I want to show you something again in here. I don't think I'm taping, so let me. Oh yeah, good. All right. So I want to show you something in here, and that is I've got a product that I am going to have you download in a minute that's called Balsamic Mockup 3. Now again, you may have problems with this. I don't know. It should work fine for a Mac, but I don't know with your settings if it'll let you do it or not. Okay? All right. And I want to quickly show you what it is. We're not going to do this right away, but we're going to end up doing this and actually doing it more than I've done it in the past. Now, why didn't that come up? I don't know. There it is. Okay. One of the things that you're going to hear pretty soon, what you're going to hear is a term that's called wireframe. When you wireframe, what you end up doing when you wireframe is you kind of paint a picture of what your web page or what your website will look like. Okay? And it used to be literally people would do this kind of thing on a napkin or piece of paper toweling or just a garbage piece of paper. Now there are tools to do it for you. All right. The tool that we're going to use is Balsamic Mockup 3. It's not a free tool, but I got it for free for you. All right. I got a hold of the people from Balsamic, and they agreed. It's not because it's me, but they agreed for schools to make it available. All right. So you will have this tool that normally, I'm going to uninstall mine, that normally would cost money, but you don't have to pay for it. Now, just so you know, it will, I think that it goes out of the license is good for like about a year, almost exactly a year. All right. Now, so what does that mean? If you say, well, yeah, but I'm going to be here next year, we'll get another one next year. See what I'm saying? They asked us to do this because I did it last year, and they said, no, we don't keep the same one. And I believe, I could be wrong here, but I believe that the reason that they do it the way that they do it is if somebody graduates, they don't want them to be able to go out and be able to use a package they now should be paying for. All right. I think that's their rationale. I don't really know, to be honest with you. All right. But if you look in here, you'll notice that it's now gone. See that? Now, if you look up on the screen here, please don't type this in, because I was going to have you type it in, and I thought that's ridiculous. What I'm going to do is I'm going to send you an email in just a minute, but I want you to see this. When we install the software, all right, this is what we're going to install. Balsamic Mockup 3 for desktop, okay? It will ask you for a license name, and you will put in Rankin 2019. This is the thing. I don't know about you, but I couldn't type that in without making a mistake. I know I couldn't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. You'll notice it lasts till the end of this month, a year from now. All right? And what I'll do is I will just email it to each of you in here right now, and the other two. We're still not here. It's really weird. I mean, normally I can come in here and I can change the size of my screen with no problem. It's really for whatever reason, today at least, it's been unbelievably hard to do that. I've never had that happen to me before. So, all right. I guess so. So I'm going to just grab that email that I sent you with yesterday, and I'm going to reply all and give you that right now. So you should get this hopefully in a matter of moments. Come on. Gosh. Here it is. So when we do this, we're going to install it as a class, okay? You'll want to go and key into your address bar, Balsamic, I'll show you in a minute, Mockup 3 for desktop. Then when you do the install, it'll ask you for a license name. Copy this. Then it'll ask you for a license key. Copy this. This is the more important one, as you'd guess, because it's the key. And if you don't do it exactly, it probably won't take it. Paul has his own key for St. Louis. Evan and Paul share that key. I decided to get our own for here. All right, just so there'd be no problems. So there, I sent it to you. There it is. All right, so like I said, there it is. So what we'll do is I'm going to type in here Balsamic Mockup 3 down for desktop download. Now that may be hard for you to read, so let's make it bigger. And looking at this, Maya, it does show that there's one for the Mac too. Yeah. All right. So put that in, if you would, please, into your address bar, and you might have to add for yours for Mac.
No, this is also available for Mac.
Okay. So I don't want to do that. Oh, that was good. So once you do put that in, Balsamic Mockup 3 for desktop, and you probably want to add download on there. You know, I guess I showed it. So make it smaller. All right. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab Balsamic Mockup 3 for desktop, download. Copy it to the clipboard. I'm going to throw it right there into Google. Hit enter. No, it's not Mockups 3. Balsamic for desktop, Balsamic. Should be this one, I would guess.
I keep doing mockups.
Yeah, it's
We're gonna do any.
Well, what I did was I put in exactly what I showed you. Okay. Balsamic Mockup 3 for desktop. It says, did you mean this? I'm not going to click. No, I didn't. I just clicked the first one here.
Yeah, but then whenever I clicked on that, it said download mockups 3. But it's
Yeah. And it, you know what? And it does down here too. I don't even know if there's it says here, mockups. Okay? It shouldn't matter. So I'm going to click here for desktop, for Windows, for Mac. There's the download for Windows, also for Mac, so again, you choose that one. Make sense? So I'm just going to choose the big one here, download Mockups 3. Please review, and yeah, I agree, whatever. Same kind of thing we looked at before. I'm going to right mouse click on here, tell it to open when done. When we get to that point, you see where it says here, if you look up on the screen, you see where it says new to Balsamic, get started with these tutorials. We will do a tutorial as a class. And after that, you'll be like, oh wow, this is easy. It is, for lack of better words, sorry if I'm sounding like an old geezer, but it's a cool tool. And what I mean is, you can set up pictures of different pages on, like, that make up a website. You can click and have like a home link on there, click on it, and it'll change to that page. And it does that for you automatically. So it shows you what your whole site will look like, which I at least think is pretty neat. All right, I'm going to click Run. Yes. Click Install to continue. Yes. Yeah, it looks like what it wants you to do on there, because I grabbed, there's a real little piece of paper that I gave you on there too, there. And it tells you that if you want to be able to install that stuff, you have to basically drag it out onto your desktop. So I'm going to click Finish.
Yeah, it gave me Adobe Air, but I think it's
All right. And I guess since I had it in here before for mine, I guess that's why it didn't. Did you get the same thing? All right, then let's take a look at yours. And what happened when you clicked I agree?
I have not yet. I just know if I really have it.
You think I do those all of them? Do I have to do those all of them? I downloaded TextMate.
Good.
It opened a black screen, kind of just like Notepad++.
Okay. And yours looked up.
We're just doing Balsamic. Should I open for this? Still want me open for this.
Okay, well then we'll have to work on that one. All right.
If you're actually installing Balsamic, the application folder.
And like I said, with me, it is, I'm not going to lie to you, it's been a while since I've done stuff on a Mac. Or an Apple, whatever you want to call it. What I would like to do right now is I'm going to stop taping this just because this is the end of our environment setup. And then we're going to go into Chapter 2. In Chapter 2, we're actually going to create a couple simple HTML documents. We'll create a very simple document. We'll add some very simple HTML to it. We won't do anything with JavaScript for a while. Okay? So, and if I look in here, if I come back in here and I refresh mine, and you can do yours, but you don't have to. So if I go back to my programs and features, notice my Balsamic is back. I guess it is mockups, I'm sorry. I'll tell you what, we'll make sure we end at least 15 minutes early today. Doesn't mean you leave then, but we'll try to see if we can get all your stuff working then. Okay? All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the book, and I'm now in Chapter 2. Let me, like I said, let me grab this. Pardon? If you want to. You won't have to, but you can if you want to make sure you follow along.